During this presentation I shall be going through my pre-production, project proposal and action plan for this project. For my pre-production I decided to do option 2, which was a demo of a song of a genre that I'm specifically passionate about. I chose option 2 as I'm passionate about songwriting and I feel like it's one of my strengths as a musician. I also chose this so I could get an idea if I wanted to do the EP, I could figure out what sound I wanted to go for, and if it was to a high standard I could also use it onto the EP. Songwriting is like my favourite part of music. I can progress my skills as a songwriter and practice production, mixing and mastering through this. My second option was option number 3, which was a 30-second video to footage or moving image. I chose option number 3 as I thought it could challenge my skills, and as in GCSEs I did photography and media, so I have some knowledge of how a music video is made and the production that goes through with it. As I already had some instrumental music from previous tasks, I decided to use that and make some footage that I thought would be appropriate for the sound. If the end product was suitable and to a high standard, I could also use this to promote the EP if I decided to do so, or I could just use it as a piece of my work and to show some skills. Okay. Overall, I think both options went really well. With my first option I chose gave me good ideas on how I wanted to progress my EP if I chose that, which by the end of this task I decided I would like to go with the EP and extend on that one song that I produced. It was also a good time to inspire me and force me to create something new, which is also fun. The second option was also very interesting to make as it was something new and it challenged me. It was also very inspiring and I would definitely use that footage as something to promote the EP. Overall I learnt many skills through this pre-production and it was very helpful for my project proposal that I'll go into now. From this course I have learnt a lot throughout my time here and I've progressed as a producer, songwriter and musician. When I first started I didn't know anything really, to be honest with everyone, but now I didn't even own a DAW or a laptop to even produce with. Out of the many units we did, the Live Lounge was specifically important, so we learned how to collaborate and work with the performance students, which we didn't have many chances to do, which was a very interesting experience. It was crucial how to communicate with other musicians, especially within the music industry, which was a very helpful task to learn from. Unit 8 was also a very interesting project as it was our final project for that year, and to put all our skills we learned throughout the year into one project. This included preparing, time management, troubleshooting and collaboration. Unit 9 and 10, which was the specialist research, was also very helpful as I learnt how to Harvard reference, which is going to be very useful for this next up and coming project. Also Unit 11, as that was filling out my UCAS application and helped me figure out what I wanted to actually do after this year. I think one of my greatest milestones was getting the Maschine MK3, which I'm very passionate about and is one of my favourite things to use as a part of my music production. I learned a lot in studio skills, how to use it, and it made me very passionate about using some hardware within my work. It also allowed me to branch out into different genres such as hip hop and combine that with the music genres I'm interested in making. It's also got me very interested into sampling, which is very fun, and live performance would also help me with this. Overall I feel like I've developed a lot throughout these 2 years and has helped me become a better producer, songwriter and musician. I've become a lot more confident and independent throughout this course. A lot of my lecturers have taught me many skills that are key to know in the future, especially in this industry, or if I want to branch out into something else. At first I loved the idea of becoming a studio producer and working with bands, but now further on throughout this course I realised I would like to be my own artist, as I love songwriting and producing. Therefore I would love to perform my own songs instead of writing for others, even though that is still a key interest of mine. Therefore, I've decided to do an EP, as this year we've learnt a lot about sound design and experimenting with different sounds. Also struggling with finishing tracks, so doing an EP will be a very good challenge for me to actually complete a whole project. For this final major project, I shall be producing an EP consisting of 3 to 4 tracks. I'll be experimenting in different genres to cater to different audience and to keep my interest. For my research aspect of this project, I will be researching at least 4 different EPs to give a range of different genres, as that is what I want to do for my EP. During the EPs, I will listen out for mixing, mastering, what instruments have they used, what software they've used, just so I know all the facts and work that have gone into their own products. I'll preferably be researching artists that inspire me, as this will make me more intrigued as to how they made it and why I like it as a consumer so much. We'll also look at how they promoted and published the EP, and I shall take that into account when I start doing mine. I'll use primary research, for example questionnaires and surveys, and to get my target audience I will find out what they like, dislike, and how they would approach an EP as to how they would consume it. This way I'll understand what their gender, age group is, and location. I'll also find out what other artists they're interested in and what is aesthetically pleasing to them, how they like to dress, and themes they're interested in. As this will come straight from their own mouths, this is a reliable source and I will know the facts straight away. I'll also be using a website called Equipment Board, which is a very reliable source as it shows what the artists use and they use the source where it came from, like their social medias or videos of them using what equipment. This is also very helpful for me as I can find out artists that I'm interested to, and from my questionnaire what they use. For example, pedals, softwares, DAWs, etc. I've also had an interview with a member of a band and asked them what softwares they use, and I know that's a reliable source as it came straight from the source itself. As it was a production event, I also got to learn how they use it, why they use certain things, why they did certain things for a demo, and it was very interesting to learn, and I shall write that throughout my research. Secondary sources I shall be using, such as articles, so like promotions and business articles, or specific magazines that I can really look into as it's really specific, as that is being published to the public and should be reliable. I will also look at specific brands and certain industries as they publish certain points and ways of promoting things and why they're so good at it. However, some articles can be biased as they may dislike or like the artist or the brand. They also might just have different opinions within the articles, and I'll take that into account within my research and take on board what is necessary. Some problem solving I may have to do is finishing the actual tracks, as I struggle to complete things. I'm always never happy with the final product and I always want everything to be perfect, so I'll have to get others to listen to it and let me know their opinions on whether they think it is finished or not. However, I have a schedule, and if I stick to it I should be able to complete everything on time. Another issue that may encounter is booking studios and being with other musicians, as networking may be difficult as everyone is going to be doing the same thing. So getting to be in other people's schedules may be difficult as they may clash. Another issue that I may encounter is that I've never had experience with promoting or selling a brand, so I will get tutorials with business tutors and get their best advice on how and what to do in certain situations. A health and safety matter that I will have to deal with is looking after myself, as it is very easy to get stressed and let the work come on top of you. To deal with this, I'll take breaks and stick to the schedule in my action plan that I'll go on further. and I'll keep updates on the development diary so I know what I've done and I won't have to trying to remember of what I've done, as I'll already have the evidence there. And in the studio there may be health and safety issues like trip hazards, waters, so electrocution. Feedback can also be an issue as feedback may be an issue as you can damage people's ears, and that is not good, clearly. To prevent this, I'll keep everything tidy and make sure everything is where it's needed to be. Food and drinks are obviously not allowed in the studios, so I'll make sure everyone follows that rule. I'll also double check that everything is on point and do any troubleshooting if necessary. Going on to practical skills, I shall be setting up in studios and working with fellow musicians. So this will have to show professionalism and that I can work in a studio environment. I will be working with other musicians. This is also out of my comfort zone, as I'll have to try and communicate with the artists and try and get them to cooperate with what I want and how I want it to sound. As I shall be networking, it will come in handy later on with promoting my EP and will hopefully make things easier. In the studio environment, I will have to set up live instruments like drums, guitars, bass. These are key skills to know in a studio, and that it is in the right order, as it's important to know the correct method on how to set up with using certain techniques to get certain atmospheres and sounds that I want for the certain track. This is why in my research I can look at certain techniques to use for a certain sound that I am looking for. For example, depending on where the mic is from the distance from the amp and the mic, this can either make the guitar sound really dull, ambient, or really bright. I will use my skills from lectures, such as studio skills, where we are constantly doing practical work and should come in handy within this project, as I'll be gaining skills from using the mixing desk and setting up live instruments. Another practical element of this task is going to be the compositions. This will allow me to put my theory knowledge within my work and also allow me to be hands-on with software and hardware. These skills I will need to know in order to complete my EP and show off the skills I've learned throughout my time on this course. I'll have to know my way around my selected DAW, whether that be Logic or Machine. It's important to show the effects, plugins, automation, EQ, etc. within my selected DAW, so I can show all the skills. However, I can only use it when necessary, as I don't want it to sound overworked and that I'm using certain methods just for the sake of it when it's not needed. By the end of this project, I would know the process it takes to create an EP, how to promote, and be a bit more business savvy when it comes to topics like this. I will gain knowledge from recording, mixing and mastering from all the studio work. Also, networking will be another skill I would have gained. As a progression, I would have got experience from this, which is also very knowledgeable and helpful in the music industry.